Went to the Ford dealership to get a new ignition cylinder. Turns out after 10 years, they purge all the information about all their cars and trucks. This being a 2006, we gotta do this thing where we build our own thing. The guys at the dealership were like, hey, this is pretty easy. It comes with some instructions, but once you open the bag, you can't return it. They clearly aren't subscribers to the channel because they wouldn't have said anything. We're not going to return this. We're going to cut it open and see what happens. I got everything laid out here. You can buy these things pre-built from the Zon, and we'll throw a link down there in the bottom in case that's your preference. But if you're like us, you just want to build stuff, learn things. That's what we're going to do here. Plus, we got this random Ford key laying around, so we're going to use it. Of course, it doesn't fit the doors, so I'll have to change these on the doors too and do this whole same process again. But that's fine with me. No big deal. The kit comes with instructions, so you can use those in combination with this video to help you understand exactly what you're doing. It even comes with this handy dandy little box here so you can write down your key code once you figure it out. Now, Ford labels this station 8 being the furthest inboard and station 1 being the furthest outboard, as evidenced by this diagram right here. Basically what you're looking for is the depth of how much is cut out of each one of these, and there's only going to be 5 depths. So you can look at it and go, oh gee whiz, looks like this one's probably a 1, whereas this one down in here is probably a 5. And you can do a quick check to make sure that you're right based on your little cylinder, which is what I did here. Now, I initially, before I put this one in, this is my most inboard, so station number 8, based on this diagram here. I dropped this one in without the spring to make sure that the key slid through it. And then I put the spring in and double checked again, and it works flawlessly. So you're gonna identify each one of the stations, and we're going to use this key right here as an example of how we can read all the different stations and figure out what we are looking at and putting in here into our switch. Key goes in that way. This one's station number 8. This one back here, this flat spot is station number 1. And we're only going to use 7 because, as you can see, there's 4 holes. 1, 2, 3, 4 on one side, and then on the other side there's 3 more. And you can tell the holes because the spring goes in first, and then you drop in the tumbler. And I'll show you that in just a second. Turns out that this one right here is going to be number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Those are your 8 total. So this is your most inboard, and the way I think of it, because my mind works, let's fill this keyhole or this tumbler in first and work backwards to here, because I just need to ignore this one. This one doesn't matter for anything. This guy's pretty deep, so I'm going to say that guy's probably a 5. And this guy looks like it's pretty close to a 5 also, which makes this one a 4. This one's either a 3 or a 2. This one's going to be a 4, either a 3 or a 2, and this one's going to be a 4. This one right here is probably a 1. Each one of these bags is labeled with a number based on the depth. The bigger the number, the deeper the cut. Each one of the tumblers is also labeled with a number, so just in case you get confused or you pull one out, it's got a number on it so you know how deep the cut is. The depth of cut is going to determine which one of these you use inside of your key cylinder. I took 3 tumblers here and put them side by side, and I put the 4 in the middle for a reason, because I want you to see the difference between how much of a cut you have for the 1 versus how much of a cut you have for the 4. And then I put the 3 right next to the 4 so you can see there's not much of a difference between a 4 and a 3. So if you have a massive change between one key section and another, this one right here is probably a 5. Look at how deep that is compared to, say, this one up here that's probably a 1. That's a massive, massive change. More consistent with this 4 right here compared to this 1, as opposed to like these 2 right here, this one and this one, where there's just the most subtle of change. So you're looking at something more like a 4-3 or 4-5, somewhere around in there. We've got the first one set in there, and in this case, we selected our number. Before I put the spring in, I dropped our tumbler in here to make sure that the key fit through it without the spring. And then I pulled it out, and then I put the spring in, then dropped the tumbler in, and boom, you see it goes flat. That's how we know we selected the correct key code. There's only 5. It's not that big of a deal. Don't over stress about it. Just compare each one and figure out what you got. The next step is so there's our tumbler sticking out. That's what it looks like when the key's not inserted. So we roll over to the next side, and this is going to be, Ford calls this position number 7. I'm going to call it position number 2 because I'm going to work, again, from the inboard side outside because that's the way my brain works. but you can do whatever you want. You can work this way if you want, whatever makes you happy. Okay, so this is the one that I think is next. I've dropped it in. There's no spring. I'll show you what the spring looks like in just a second. It's actually right over there. Oop, those are the springs. So there's no spring in there. So if you drop the spring in and then you drop the tumbler in, it seems like they're pretty much locked. So don't do that unless you're ready. But we'll test this and see whether or not this one drops in like it's supposed to. Okay, so there it sits. You can see when I push the key in, it moves in and it locks. Good to go. So I'll drop the spring in, and I know my key code is right so far, which gives me pretty much good confidence that I have coded this key correctly. I do in fact know what I'm doing. Once you drop the spring in here and then you drop your tumbler in here, you're gonna have to kind of press it down a little bit firmly to lock it into place, and then it's going to stay. So make sure you're testing, double checking before you start dropping these in, unless you're very experienced with this, and then I don't know why you'd be watching this video except for to make fun of me, which is perfectly fine because clearly I have no idea what I'm doing. We've been over this many times, but anyhow, once you drop the spring in and you drop your tumbler in and you push it in, you're pretty much done. That's staying there forever from what I can tell. Not been able to pull any of these back out to double check. So be confident in yourself. Double check and make sure you know which one is the number one tumbler, because it's the one that's the shortest. It goes in the least. So if you're pretty much flat or you see just a small cut on your key, you can say, boom, that's probably a number one. And then work your way down a little bit at a time. On this key, this right here is this flat part right here is going to be a 1. See that tiny little cut on there right there? You can see just a little bit of brass color. Okay, that's how you know that's what the number 1 cut looks like. So you could work that 1. That's probably a 2. This one's probably a 4, 2, 1, 2, 1. So not too bad. This one's actually probably pretty easy. Okay, so here's your cheat code for whether or not the tumbler you dropped in is going to be the one that you want in there. This is actually the bottom of the tumbler. See, the way I think of it is the bottom. The top is the spring hole in my mind because that's the way you put it in, and then this is the bottom here. And you see that the bottom is flush right there on this third one. We're just looking at, well, the first and the third one, and then we can look at and so there's no spring in this one, just FYI. We can look at the second one too, and we see the keys inserted. That's flush. It's a little bit proud on the quote unquote top. I'm gonna put in this same third hole, I'm gonna put the wrong tumbler in there real quick so you can see how it looks from the bottom here, and we can compare. Now this is the wrong tumbler, and you can see here from the bottom, if you look at it from the side there, it's just a little bit proud. It's sticking out just a tad. Whereas on the ones that we know are correct, look at how flush that is. You see the difference? That's how we know this is the wrong tumbler. And so you could, if you wanted to, in order to test, you can put the tumbler you think it is, and then the one on either side. So say this one we thought was a 2. We can put the 2 in there, see how it sits. Then we can put the 3 or the 1 in there and see how they sit, and then select which one it actually is. All right, looking good so far. I will tell you, I don't know if this is always the case. I imagine so, because once this is in the cylinder, these are going to have a little bit of pressure on it. But I did have to just kind of squeeze just a little bit to get the key to slide all the way in. But I think that's probably normal. The instructions don't mention anything about it, but I will double check. For the sake of time and speed, I'm just going to go ahead and fill all these guys in, continuing to work with my key and going through that same process. You guys don't need to see that. Catch me on the next step once we get all these installed. All right, once I stopped filming, that took about 2 seconds. The good news is there were extra springs, so the one that I shot across the room somewhere, don't have to worry about it. We're all set. Now that we got this done, the next step we're going to take is we're going to start looking at this guy right here. This is the case that this thing goes into. So I believe we got to do a little greasing. Let me double check the instructions and make sure I'm not missing anything real fast, and then we're going to insert that guy into there. Okay, so we're going to take the spring and we're going to shoot it right into here. It's pretty greasy in there right now, so no big deal. Slide that down in there, give it a little press, kind of see it down in there now. Don't confuse it with these little springs. These are not the ones. These are the tumbler springs. Sorry, those are in the way. Next should be putting in the ball. This ball is so tiny. I'm going to use a little trick here and see if this helps. I'm going to put a little grease on it. See if I can get some control of it with a little bit of grease. Now that it's in there, I can't rotate it. Let me see if I can get my camera here. All right, so the ball's in there, and you can see the actuator is also right there. So I've got to lift the spring here to give me space to slide the little actuator into, it's got this little groove right here. That little groove goes in these little like moon-shaped hooks on the spring here, and then I've got to get that ball to sit on there with it, which is why the grease I think is going to be helpful. We'll see. Bear with me as I fight through this process. What I'm doing right now is trying to get the ball seated properly into the spring. My grease trick does seem to be giving me a little bit of help, which is nice. So now I've got some pressure on there. So I'm gonna push with my paper clip a little bit, see if I can get that thing seated down in there. I took a little pressure off again. Yeah, the ball definitely missed. Okay. feel like because this thing is so fat, like it should just... Missed again. This is the most challenging part of this whole operation. Yeah, it did come off. If you look closely, you can see right here how it's all connected. Let's stick the key in, see what changes. Now you see how everything is activated. Key out. So this little metal piece is going to press into the door chime inside the truck when the key is inserted and you open the door. She's all done. Now it's just a matter of sliding it in the truck and seeing if it works. All right, full disclosure, that little retainer should have gone in this hole before I put the case on the cylinder. Seems like I'm pretty much screwed now, so I'm just gonna go without the door chime. Make sure you watch this whole video. Hopefully you watch this whole video and understand that I made that mistake. If you're like me though, and you had to drill this lock out before, you can put the new one in, and you gotta get some compressed air and blow all the metal out of the inside in there. All right, next thing I'm gonna do is put the cover back on, because once the ignition cylinder is in there, it's just kind of there. So we can pop it back out, but easiest thing to do is just go ahead and put this back on. When you insert this thing, it has to be, the key has to be in, the ignition partially started, and then you kind of have to fiddle with it to get it to go in. And then once it's in, it's like brand new, like butter. Make sure that the detent is facing down, just like when you tried to remove it, if you were able to remove it, or if you had to drill it out. Same process, and it's good to go. Hope you do what I did, but better, and hope you can get something from this video. Yeah, don't forget your doorbell chime, key chime. Kyle, if you're watching this, as you edit this, feel free to edit out whatever you feel like, or leave in, or time lapse, or whatever you want to do here. Clearly, I have no idea what I'm doing. Whatever you want to do here. Whatever you feel like. Because clearly, I have no idea what I'm doing.